The fear in the shadows moved quietly through the broken trees, her body low, her breath held. The air was cold and the sky above was dark, filled with silent stars. Lyra had been hiding here for days, maybe weeks. Time didn't matter anymore. Only her child did. Behind her, wrapped in warm, soft cloth, her baby slept. His name was Kiru. Small, sick, and helpless, he was the last thing she had in this cruel world. Lyra was not human. Her skin was silver blue, her eyes large and glowing. Softly in the dark. She was from a race once full of life, now almost gone. She had escaped a war, a burning planet, and crashing metal ships, but she hadn't escaped the fear, especially not the fear of them humans. They came like storms, tall, loud, fast. They took, they broke, they destroyed. She had seen it before, whole villages turned to dust. Their machines leaving only ashes behind. She had heard stories from others before they died, stories of humans eating anything. Even living things, even children. So when she heard the roar of a human ship landing nearby, her heart filled with terror. She watched from the shadows. The human ship was large, gray, and broken in places. It landed hard on the dirt, kicking up dust and smoke. The noise made Kiru cry. She gently rocked him, whispering in their soft language, hoping he would stay quiet. A group of humans came out. They wore armor and carried tools and weapons. They were scavengers, looking for old tech, food, anything to take. She counted 5. Her eyes followed them carefully. Her claws were ready if any of them came close. But then, one of them did something strange. He didn't speak much. He didn't laugh with the others. He looked around with calm eyes. He scanned the trees, the rocks, the old ruins. His name, as the others called him, was Elias, Dr. Elias Ward. He was different. While the others broke open boxes and shouted to each other, Elias knelt near a stone that had markings only Lyra's people would know. He touched them, gently brushing the dust away. He didn't smile, he didn't look scared, he looked curious. From her hiding spot, Lyra watched closely. She felt her claws relax just a little. This human wasn't like the others. Elias stood up, looking straight ahead, almost toward her. But not exactly. He spoke softly, to the wind maybe, or maybe to her. "I don't want to hurt you," he said. "I know someone is here. I saw the tracks, I felt it." Lyra froze. Her breathing stopped, her body turned cold. How did he know? Elias took off his bag and slowly opened it. He placed something on the ground, food, water, a small blanket, and then he stepped back. "This is for you," he said. "You don't have to trust me. Just survive." Then he turned and walked away. Lyra didn't move for a long time. Even after he was gone, she stayed hidden, heart pounding. The other humans were still busy. They didn't see what Elias had done. They didn't care. Later that night, when the campfires were low and the humans were sleeping, Lyra moved silently toward the gift. Her eyes scanned everything, her ears listened for danger. But it was safe. She picked up the food and water. Her hands trembled. It had been days since she had eaten anything. She opened the blanket and held it close to her face. It was warm, it smelled clean. For the first time in many nights, she allowed herself to cry, but not for long. The fear was still there. What if it was a trick? What if the human came back with others? What if they found Kiru? She rushed back to the shelter. Kiru was still asleep, his breath soft and light. She fed him small drops of the water. He moved a little. A small sound came from his mouth. He was still alive. Lyra looked up at the stars through the cracks in the roof. Her mind was filled with questions. Why did the human help her? What did he want? Could he be trusted? She had been told humans were monsters, but monsters don't give food. Monsters don't speak gently. Monsters don't leave gifts in the dark. Maybe, just maybe, this one was different, and maybe, just maybe, there was still hope. The contact asterisk. The next day, the sky was covered with gray clouds. Wind moved through the broken trees like whispers, carrying the scent of metal and fire. Lyra sat inside the ruins of an old shelter, half covered in vines, half buried under stone. Kiru lay beside her, wrapped in the human blanket. His breathing was weak but steady. He had survived the night, but Lyra hadn't slept. Her eyes stayed open, watching, waiting. Her mind repeated one question: why would a human help her? No answer came. She had seen humans destroy. They didn't give, they took. Yet this one, Elias, had walked into the shadows with food, water, and warmth, and left without asking for anything. Was it a trap? She waited until the sun was low again. The human camp was still nearby, about 500 steps from her hiding place. Firelight danced between metal crates and broken ship parts. She could see the humans moving, 4 of them, loud, careless, but Elias, he was sitting alone, far from the others. Again, he returns the next evening. Lyra saw him again. Elias left the camp alone, walking carefully into the ruins. He didn't carry a weapon, only a bag. He came to the same place where he had left the supplies before. This time, he spoke again. "I don't know your name," he said, voice calm, But I know you're watching me. He placed something on the ground, food again, and medicine. Human medicine, simple but useful. If you're injured, use this, he said. I won't tell the others. He turned and sat down on a broken rock. He didn't move, didn't speak, just waited. From the shadows, Lyra watched him closely. Her heart beat fast. Why would he sit still like that? Wasn't he afraid? Didn't he know she was near? Or did he know in our past? The sky turned deep blue, then black. Stars appeared one by one. Still, Elias sat, quiet, peaceful, like he wasn't afraid of the darkness at all. Lyra single quotes as hands shook. This wasn't normal. No human she had seen acted like this. Was it possible? Was he trying to earn her trust? Small steps. Third night, Lyra moved closer. Not too close, just enough. When Elias arrived at the usual place, he spoke softly. You don't have to show yourself. But I know you're a mother. I can feel it. Lyra's eyes widened in the shadows. How did he know? I studied alien biology. I worked with peaceful species before, he continued. I know the signs. The way you protect the food, the way your footsteps are lighter, slower, you're carrying someone, your child. Maybe. She felt frozen. He was right. He had noticed everything, even things her own kind sometimes missed. If your child is sick, Elias said, I might be able to help, not harm. Help. She didn't answer, but she moved half a step closer. She didn't even realize it. Danger comes in the fourth night. Something changed. Another human named Harlan followed Elias, silent, sneaky. Lyra noticed him first. She was high up, between the rocks, hiding behind tree roots. She saw Harlan, holding a small device, a tracker. He was listening, recording. Elias didn't know he was being followed. He placed food and more supplies at the usual spot, then said something new. I brought something better today, a medical scanner. It can check basic life signs. Lyra's heart jumped. Her eyes locked on the small machine in his hand. Then she heard it, the click of a weapon. Harlan stepped out from behind a wall, aiming a small pistol at Elias. So this is what you've been hiding? Harlan hissed. You've been sneaking off every night, talking to, what, some alien ghost? Elias stood up slowly, put the gun down. Harlan. Why, what did you find? Harlan looked around. Is it a creature, some new tech? We could sell it. It's not for sale, Elias said firmly. Harlan narrowed his eyes. Then why protect it? What did it give you in return? Nothing, Elias said, but maybe it gave me something you lost a long time ago, humanity. Lyra's breath caught. She had never heard a human speak like that before. Harlan didn't like the answer. He stepped forward, scanning the area with his eyes. I'll find it myself, and when I do, Command will pay big for a live alien. He turned and walked away, disappearing into the trees. Elias looked into the darkness. He didn't say anything this time, just sighed and walked back toward the camp. Trust begins. The next night, Lyra came out of the shadows, not fully, but enough. She waited until Elias arrived. He looked tired, worried. The fight with Harlan must have continued. When he placed the scanner on the ground, Lyra stepped forward slowly. He heard her, turned and stopped. He didn't move, didn't reach for a weapon. Lyra stood under the moonlight, her eyes glowing faintly. Kiru was in her arms, quiet, weak. Elias saw them both and lowered his head slightly, not in fear, in respect. You found me, he said. Lyra nodded once. Her voice was soft, careful. My child is dying. Elias looked at Kiru, then at her. I'll help, he said. I promise. For the first time in her life, Lyra believed a human's words. The revealed wind howled over the broken buildings as if the planet itself was crying. Deep inside the ruins, hidden under layers of rock and old steel, Lyra sat in silence. She had done what no one from her kind would ever dare. She had revealed herself to a human. And now, the human had followed her into the dark. Elias walked beside her, careful, respectful. He didn't speak much. His eyes moved slowly across the walls, taking in the alien symbols, the broken statues, the faded carvings of a lost race. It wasn't just a hiding place. This was once a temple. A place of memory, a place of mourning. Elias looked at the weak, glowing child in Lyra's arms. Kiru. His skin was too pale, his breath too soft. The child was fading. Without help, he would not survive the next 2 nights. This way, Lyra said at last. Her voice was calm, but her hands shook. Elias followed her into a small chamber where alien light still glowed. Faintly, he set down his bag and took out the medical scanner. I'll run a scan, he said, gently. Lyra nodded, but her eyes stayed locked on every move he made. The scanner buzzed softly. Green lights danced across Kiru's small body. Elias frowned. His lungs are collapsing, Elias said. His blood is missing key proteins. His heart struggling. He needs real treatment, not just field medicine. Lyra looked down. We don't have real treatment, she whispered. Your kind made sure of that. Elias looked up. What do you mean? She turned away from him, eyes fixed on a cracked wall painting. Then she began to speak. The truth of her people, we were once many, she said. We lived on a planet filled with sky gardens and crystal seas. We sang to the stars, we built without fire. We healed without harm. Elias listened, silent. Then your people came, they came with fire in the sky. They said they were explorers, they smiled when they landed, and then they started digging. She touched a mark on the wall, a symbol of her people's homeworld. They dug into the roots of our forests. They tore out the crystals that fed our world. When we asked them to stop, they gave us machines. When we said no, they brought soldiers. Elias lowered his head. My mate was a healer. Lyra continued, her voice growing cold. He tried to treat the children injured by your mining drones. One day, he didn't return. All they found was his name scratched into steel and a human ID tag lying next to it. A deep silence filled the room. After that, she said, I ran. I carried Kiru in my arms. I hid while cities burned. I watched my world turn black. And every time I saw a human ship in the sky, I feared they would take him too. Elias finally spoke. I didn't know, he said softly, not all of US knew. I was told your people disappeared because of war. Lyra laughed bitterly. Your people wrote the history, we only lived it. A risky promise. Elias looked at Kiru again. I can save him, he said, but I need access to my medical pod. It's inside the ship. If I bring him there, I can stabilize him. Lyra's eyes widened. Your ship? She said, the one with the other humans. Yes, they'll kill him. Elias hesitated. They won't know. I can sneak him in at night. They think I'm doing field research in the Outer Valley. I have 2 nights left before they leave. Lyra stood still, her whole body tense. You expect me, she said slowly, to give my child to a human and let you carry him into the same kind of ship that destroyed our world? Elias didn't flinch. Yes, he said, because right now, that's the only way he'll survive. For a long time, nothing was said. Then Lyra looked down at Kiru. His small hand twitched. His eyes barely opened. She leaned close to his ear, whispering something in her own language. Then she turned to Elias. I'll come with you. The night walk hours passed. The forest turned cold and silent. With Kiru wrapped tightly in both human and alien cloth, the two moved through the shadows like ghosts. Elias carried Kiru. Lyra followed behind, hooded, face hidden. If anyone saw them, it would be over, but the night was quiet and the guards were lazy. They reached the ship. Elias stopped near a side hatch. This opens to the lab. No cameras here. No patrols after midnight. He pressed a code. The door opened with a soft hiss. Inside, blue lights lit up a clean room filled with machines, scanners, and medical pods. Elias placed Kiru inside a pod and activated the system, scanning life signs, the machine said. Analyzing DNA, applying synthetic oxygen, beginning blood patch protocol. Lyra watched, frozen in fear and wonder. Kiru single quotes as chest slowly rose. The monitor showed new color in his skin. The healing had begun. Elias stepped back. He'll need 12 hours, he said. We'll stay hidden until then. But not Alana. Suddenly a voice echoed from the hallway. Who opened the side hatch? Lyra's eyes went wide. Footsteps, fast, to people, maybe more. Elias grabbed her hand. Hide. He pushed her into a storage compartment, then locked it from the inside. Lyra held her breath, her hand still on the pod, eyes on her child. Outside, 2 crew members entered the lab. Someone's been in here, one said. Elias turned around, calm. It was me. I ran another scan. Thought I found an old species marker in the valley. False reading. You sure? The second asked. We're leaving soon. No time for alien side projects, I'm sure. Elias said. After a pause, the 2 men walked away. The door shut again. Lyra came out slowly, her chest tight. Elias looked at her. You're not safe anymore, he said. They're getting curious. She nodded. Then we move faster. The Cure asterisk inside the medical pod. Soft lights pulsed with each of Kiru's heartbeats. His chest rose and fell, weak, but steady. He was still alive. Elias stood beside the pod, checking the data. He wiped sweat from his brow. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. His hands shook slightly as he adjusted the oxygen filters. His vitals are improving, he whispered. But he's still not stable. Across the room, Lyra sat on the floor, knees drawn to her chest. Her eyes never left her son. Every sound outside made her tense. Every footstep felt like thunder. How much time left? She asked. 4 hours, Elias said. But we have another problem. Lyra's head snapped up. What now? The blood patch system is missing key proteins. Human DNA doesn't match his completely. I need to build a custom enzyme for his body to accept the treatment fully. Can you make it? Yes, but I'll need access to the ship's central lab. That's 2 floors up and guarded. Lyra stood slowly. Then we go. Elias shook his head. No. It's too dangerous. If they see you, he will die without it, she said sharply. I will not stay behind while my child slips away. Their eyes locked. Elias saw the fire in her gaze. It was the same fire he'd seen in every mother during every crisis, human or not. That same look of defiance, of love beyond logic. He nodded. Then we go together, quickly, quietly. The silent heist hallway outside the medbay was empty for now. Elias handed Lyra a long coat. The kind mechanics wore on ship duty. She slipped it on, hood up, to any camera or passerby. She might look like just another crew tech. The two moved fast, taking sidecar doors and unused ladders. Elias used his ID chip to unlock lab access. The door slid open with a soft hiss. They stepped into a room full of cold machines and blinking lights. A wall of vials glowed with alien samples colors Lyra had never seen before. I can build the enzyme here, Elias said. But I need 15 minutes. Lyra nodded and turned to watch the hallway, every muscle tight. The seconds stretched like ours. In the lab, Elias worked quickly, combining proteins, adjusting molecular patterns, checking compatibility. Come on, he muttered. Behind him, Lyra suddenly stiffened. Someone's coming. Elias's hand hovered over the machine. How close? Too close. Caught before they could hide. The lab door opened. Harlan stepped in. He stopped, eyes wide. He saw Elias. He saw Lyra. He saw the alien samples. And he smiled. So this is what you've been hiding, he said, voice sharp with greed. I knew it. Elias stepped in front of Lyra. Get out, Harlan. No, Harlan said. I think I just found my ticket off this dying rock. Command pays big for live aliens. He pulled out a communicator. Lyra single quotes S claws slid from her fingers. Elias raised a hand between them. No killing, he whispered to her. Then louder, to Harlan, you don't know what you're doing. This child is dying. The mother came to us for help. We can't turn them in. Why not? Harlan snapped. They're not human, but I am, Elias said, stepping forward. And I choose to help. Harlan raised his hand to slap the communicator, then stopped. Because Lyra stepped into the light, not as a monster, not as a threat, just a mother, holding a blood-stained cloth, eyes filled with tears and fear. And love. Even Harlan hesitated. Just for a second, but it was enough. Elias knocked the communicator out of his hand and smashed it underfoot. You can tell command whatever you want, he said, but not until this child is safe. Harlan stared at the broken device, then at Elias, then at Lyra. You're a fool, he said coldly. You'll lose everything for this. Then so be it, Elias replied. The Kirith enzyme was ready. They rushed back to the med pod. Kiru's vitals were crashing. The machine was warning in red lights. Apply now, Elias said. Lyra held Kiru's tiny hand as the fluid entered his system. The machine buzzed, beeped, then slowed. Kiru single quotes as chest rose. A little stronger this time. His skin color warmed, his body relaxed. He's stabilizing. Elias said softly, he's going to make it. Lyra dropped to her knees. Not in weakness but in release. For the first time in days, the fear began to leave her body. She looked at Elias. Thank you, he shook his head. Don't thank me yet. We're not safe, Harlan might tell the others, and if command finds out, we run, Lyra said. Before they return. But Elias had a plane leaned in close. I can't leave with you, they'll chase us both. But if I create a false trail, if they think you're on a transport ship going north, they'll follow that. And Kiru, she asked, you'll take him, tonight, I'll leave you supplies. I know a drop point in the old mining valley. I'll mark the path. You would lie to your own people? I'm not lying, Elias said. I'm protecting someone who trusted me when she had every reason not to. Final night at midnight, Lyra stood outside the ship, holding her child stronger now. Breathing well. Elias handed her a pack with food, medicine, and a beacon. This beacon is encrypted. If you ever need help, press it. Lyra looked at him. You're strange, she said. So I've been told, he smiled. Then Lyra did something no human had seen in centuries. She reached out slowly and touched Elias's forehead with her fingers. A gesture of honor from her people. My son, she said, will grow up knowing not all humans are monsters. And then she disappeared into the night. The betrayal asterisk. The morning came without light. Thick clouds covered the sky like a warning. Wind pushed through the trees like whispers of something terrible coming. Inside the ship, Elias sat alone in the med bay, staring at the empty pod where Kiru once lay. They were gone. Safe. He hoped he had given them a chance to escape, but now he was the one trapped. The door behind him hissed open. It wasn't Harlan. It was worse. Commander Rilla's had arrived. Her boots echoed down the metal floor. Tall, cold, sharp-eyed, she looked like a person carved from steel. Two armed guards followed behind her. Dr. Elias Ward, she said, voice like glass. We need to talk. The interrogation begins in the control room. Elias sat across from Rillis. Screen showed ship data. Red warnings blinked. No one spoke for a long time. Then Rillis tossed a small device onto the table, a broken communicator. Harlan's communicator. This was found crushed outside the main lab, she said. Would you like to explain why? Elias stayed calm. Equipment failure not uncommon in this dust. There are also unusual entries in your log, she said. Lab door access at night. Side hatch opened 3 nights in a row. And you alone were near the medbay each time. I was studying environmental bacteria from the valley, Elias replied. The readings suggested a unique spare. Me the science, Rilla's cut in. You've been lying, hiding something. Her eyes narrowed. What did you find, doctor? And more importantly, where is it now? Elias didn't answer. So Rillis leaned forward and placed something else on the table, a single glowing hair, not human. Alien, the trap titan. Celia's silence was enough. You found one of them, didn't you? Rillis said. The lost species, the ones wiped out during Terra Phase Omega. Not wiped out, Elias said softly, just hunted. The room fell silent. You helped it escape, she said. Why? Elias looked her in the eyes. Because she was a mother. Rillis slammed her hand down. This wasn't your choice. Protocol is clear. Any alien life must be reported, contained, and studied. You had no right to, and what would you have done? Elias asked. Locked her up. Dissected her child for samples, like we did to the others. The guard shifted uncomfortably. Rylas's face turned stone cold. You're under arrest. For treason, Dr. Harlan returned. They cuffed Elias. Harlan entered the room now wearing a command patch on his shoulder. He had been promoted. Of course he had. You should have taken the deal, Elias, he said with a smirk. We could have sold them together. Now you'll rot in a cell, and I'll be the one who brings her back. Elias's blood ran cold. What do you mean? You think I didn't plan to track her? Harlan laughed. When she touched me in the lab, I slipped a signal chip onto her cloak. Elias's heart dropped. No. We know where she's going, Harlan said, and we're sending the hunter drones now. Elias struggled against his cuffs. You'll kill them? No, Harlan grinned. I'll catch them. And this time, I'll bring them back alive. For the right price. The escape inside the holding cell. Elias paced like a caged animal. His mind raced. A signal chip, a drone strike. They would never make it out alive. He had one chance. His old field kit was still stored in the medbay. If he could reach it, he could activate a jamming beacon. It would block the signal tracking Lyra. But he had to get out first. He looked at the camera in the corner. Then at the vent near the ceiling. Small, tight. But maybe he climbed onto the bed, fingers dug into the vent grate, screws loose. Good. He pulled, twisted, shoved his way through. The duct was narrow, sharp, but he kept crawling. Every second counted. Behind him, alarms began to sound. Meanwhile, in the valley, Lyra moved carefully through the rocky paths of the mining valley. The cliffs above were steep and jagged. Old machines lay dead in the dirt like bones of metal beasts. Kiru was wrapped on her back. Warm and quiet, his breathing stronger now, healing. But not yet safe. She stopped at a cave entrance. Elias's final words echoed in her mind. There's a supply crate hidden inside. Wait there. When it's safe, I'll come. But now, the wind felt strange. Like something was watching her. High above, in orbit, a drone locked onto her heat signature. Target acquired. A race against death. Elias dropped into the medbay. Breathing hard, hands bloody from metal cuts, he yanked open his kit, activated the jammer. Signal block online. The voice said. He hacked the system. Rerouted the drone orders, changed the coordinates. Made it look like Lyra had turned east toward the crash fields. The drones followed. The strike was ray-directed. Just in time, Harlan's regained the control room. Harlan watched the drone feed go black. What happened? He shouted. A tech officer turned. Signal lost. Something scrambled the feed. It's gone. Harlan turned to Rillis. He did it? He growled. Elias rewrote the drone path. Rillis nodded slowly. Then finish it. Harlan stormed out. Rage boiling, he grabbed a gun from the armory. If he couldn't catch her with tech, he'd do it himself. Deep in the Cavalera sat near the back wall of the cave, watching Kiru sleep. She didn't know about the drones. She didn't know about the tracker. But something in her heart felt wrong. She stood up, looked outside, and saw a shadow on the hill. A man, a gun in his hands. He was coming for them. Final confrontation. Harlan entered the cave slowly. Gun raised. You're fast, he said. I'll give you that. Lyra stepped forward, claws showing. You will not touch him. Oh. I won't hurt the kid, Harlan said. He's worth more alive. But you, not so much. He aimed, but then a sound behind him. A voice. Drop it. Elias stood at the cave entrance, bloodied, bruised, holding a shock pistol. You again. Harlan spat. You're finished, Elias. Your career's over. Then I have nothing to lose. They stared at each other. A silent moment, then two shots. One from Elias. One from Harlan. Elias hit Harlan's shoulder. Harlan hit Elias in the side. The shock pistol dropped. Harlan fell to the ground, screaming in pain. Elias collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. Lyra rushed to him. His shirt was red. You came back, she whispered. I said I would. He smiled weakly. I had to. You're hurt. I've been worse, he said, but you need to go. Now, they'll send more. The escape cave smelled of blood and ash. Wind howled outside like a warning. The last light of evening touched the rocks in crimson streaks, like the sky itself was bleeding. Elias lay on the ground, holding his side. Blood seeped through his fingers. His face was pale, but his eyes stayed locked on Lyra. Don't stop, he whispered. Go. Lyra crouched beside him, torn between two fears: losing her child, or losing the one human who had proved she could trust again. You're dying, she said. Not yet, he replied. But if you stay, you might. She looked at the cave mouth. She had heard ships in the sky, distant now, but drawing closer. They were coming. She looked back at Kiru, sleeping in the pack on her back, then back at Elias. I will not leave you, she said. Elias shook his head. This was never your fight, but it was now becoming more. Lyra stood. The quiet, broken mother who once hid from shadows was gone. What stood now was something else: fierce, focused. Ready? She grabbed the med pack from Elias's belt and knelt quickly beside him. This will hurt, she warned. Already does. She pressed a plasma bandage to the wound, sealing it for now. His breathing slowed, the color returned slightly to his face. He looked at her, amazed. You learn fast. You taught me, she said. Now stay alive. Outside, engines roared overhead. A scout ship was descending. The Hunt Begin's Commander Realis stood on the command deck of the scout vessel, scanning the terrain below. We lost the drone signal hours ago, her officer reported, but the last ping came from this canyon. Search all caves, she ordered. I want the alien and the traitor alive. Fighters launched. Searchlights powered on. Death was coming fast. The escape routelias pointed weakly toward the north side of the cave. There's an old mining tunnel through the rocks, forgotten by the scanners. It leads to the ridge beyond the valley. How far? Less than 2 kilometers. Lyra helped him stand, his arm over her shoulder. She looked up at the darkening sky. No stars tonight. Only the sound of engines. And danger. We go now, she said. Into the dark. The tunnel was narrow, damp, and full of echoes. Each step was pain for Elias, but he moved forward, biting back the groans. Lyra supported his weight, her other arm holding Kiru. Time was ticking. Behind them, scout teams moved from cave to cave, scanning heat signatures, calling out, this way. One voice shouted in the distance. They were close, too close. Lyra turned down a side passage, remembering the map Elias had shown her, a shortcut. They reached an old lift platform, rusted, hanging over a deep shaft. This will take us up to the ridge, Elias said, if the power still works. Lyra slammed the control panel. Nothing. Again. Still nothing. A sound echoed behind them. Boots on stone. Shouting. Flashlights. Double quotes found them. Elias looked at Lyra. Go, take the kid, climb the shaft. You can make it. Lyra stared at him. Not again. This is my fault, he said. I brought them here. Let me end it. No. You don't understand. I do, she said. And then, without asking, she reached into the control panel and ripped out 3 wires, connected them manually. The lift sparked to life. I've learned many things, Elias, she said. Even human machines. They stepped onto the platform. The lift began to rise, slow, grinding, shaking. But it moved, and below them, the soldiers poured into late, desperate measures. As they reached the top, Lyra saw a ridge of black rock. Beyond it, the horizon opened wide. They were close, a shuttle small, fast, sat camouflaged under dust nets, just as Elias had promised. An old escape pod he had modified weeks ago, just in case. Lyra helped him inside. The engines purred to life. Coordinates set, the system said. Destination, uncharted safe zone. Kiru stirred, waking gently, his eyes opened, glowing faintly. Alive. Strong. Elias smiled at him, then coughed, blood on his lips. You'll be okay, Lyra whispered. Then a blast hit the rocks outside. Soldiers had found them. Lasers rained down. The pod shook violently. We can't launch like this, Elias shouted. They'll shoot us out of the sky. Then what do we do? Lyra asked. He looked at her, then at the pilot's seat. You take him. Go. I'll draw them away. Lyra's heart broke. You'll die. Maybe, he said, but you won't. The choice for the first time since the day her world was burned. Lyra hesitated. Not in fear. In grief. In love. You don't know me this, she said. I do, he whispered. Because you gave me something I never thought I'd find again. What purpose? A long silence passed. Then Lyra stepped back, took Kiru in her arms, and moved to the pilot's seat. But just before the door closed, she turned, reached out. And pressed a small, glowing crystal into Elias's palm. What's this? A memory, she said, from my world. It will show you what it was like before the fires. He nodded slowly, eyes wet. Take care of him, he said. Take care of yourself. The door closed. Free Domth pod launched into the sky. Lasers chased it. Missiles locked on, but just before the impact, a flare shot into the air. The soldiers turned. Elias stood on the ridge, holding the flare high, blood dripping down his arm. The pod escaped into the clouds. A soldier raised a rifle. Hold your fire, Commander Rillis shouted. Don't shoot him. We need him alive. But by then, Elias had already jumped down into the lower canyon. Vanished into the mist. Aftermath. These past RYL searched every cave, every tunnel. But the pod was gone. And Elias was never found. Some say he died in the fall. Others say he lived wandering, hiding, helping where he could. As for Lyra and Kiru, they reached the safe zone, a place beyond the edge of human maps where stars still sang, where a mother could raise her son in peace. And sometimes, at night, she would sit beneath the open sky, holding the crystal, listening to the memory of her home. And whispering a promise: not all humans destroy, some protect, and some save everything. The new Hopethi planet was quiet now. Years had passed since the Night of Fire. No human scout ships flew overhead, no soldiers marched across the rocks, no search drones scanned the sky. The world had forgotten this place. But someone remembered. A peaceful Placia Valley lay hidden between sharp cliffs and glowing trees. Rivers of silver ran through the ground like veins of light. The air smelled clean, full of life. Here, in a shelter made of stone and vine, a child played. His name was Kiru. His skin shimmered like starlight, his eyes glowing blue-green. His laughter echoed through the trees, soft and warm. He was strong, now alive and growing. His mother, Lyra, watched from the edge of the garden. She was different, too. Not the frightened figure she once was, but calm, wise, powerful. A protector, the last of her kind, and the first of something new. The gift-tone night, when the stars were bright and still, Kiru came to her holding a small box. Mother, he said, what is this? It was human tech, old, scratched, dented from time. But Lyra knew it well. It was his. Elias single quotes s. She opened it carefully. Inside was the crystal she had once given him, now placed inside a memory player. Kiru pressed the switch. A glowing image rose into the air, soft light forming a shape, a man, tired eyes, kind face. Human voice. Elias. Double quotes if you're watching this, his voice said. Then you made it. You escaped, and he's alive. Kiru leaned in, eyes wide. I don't know if I survived, Elias continued. Maybe I did, maybe not, but I want him to know who he is. Lyra closed her eyes as tears ran down her face. Elias's message. Kiru. Elias's voice said, your mother is the bravest being I've ever met. She walked through fire for you, trusted a stranger when she had every reason not to. She didn't just save you, she saved me. The boy sat still, listening. You are more than your blood. Elias said, you are born of two worlds, from beauty and pain, from stars and stone, from fear and from hope. Your people were almost lost, hunted, erased, but you are proof they still live. And more than that, you are proof that peace is possible. One day, Elias said, voice soft now, others will come. More humans, more of your kind, maybe, and they'll need someone to guide them. Someone who understands both sides, someone like you. But the past is never silent. The next morning, Lyra walked to the high cliff where she often sat to think. The wind moved through her hair, birds flew across the sky, and then a sound, a low, distant hum. Engines. Her heart froze. She turned her head slowly. Above the clouds, a ship appeared, not a warship. Smaller. Sleeker. A civilian vessel. A human vessel. First contact, a Gainth ship hovered above the valley, scanning gently. No weapons active. No threat. Then a message broadcast across open waves. This is the ARC-7 Colonial Research Team. We seek safe contact with any local life. We come in peace. Lyra stood still, her claws twitched. Memories rushed back, fires, screams, broken skies. But then she remembered Elias's voice. Not all humans destroy. She took a deep breath, then answered the call. This is Lyra of the Alari, she said clearly. You are seen. A pause. Then excitement. We read you. We had no idea anyone lived here. May we land? You may land, she replied, but only one of you, and only if you come without weapons. A new meeting. Hours later, the ship lowered a ramp. A single human stepped out, young, nervous, in a clean white suit. No armor, no guns. His name was Dr. Arlen Kai, a biologist, second-generation explorer. He approached slowly. Lyra met him halfway. You are Ilari, he asked. I am, she replied. We thought your people were gone. Some are, she said. But not all. Kai looked around, amazed. This place is beautiful, untouched, living. It's a miracle. It's a graveyard, she said, but also the seed. Truth shared. Led him to the garden. Showed him the cave murals, the crystal memories, the burned stones. She told him the truth, not the version in human history books, but the real story of betrayal, of war. Of the child saved by one man who chose kindness over protocol. Kai listened, eyes wide. I never learned this, he whispered. Our records say the Alari were aggressive, dangerous. Your records are lies, she said simply. But if you survived, then maybe others did, too, maybe, she said, but it begins with one. She looked at Kiru watching from the trees, a new purpose at night. Lyra stood by the fire, staring at the stars. Kai had left, promising to return with scientists, not soldiers. With open hands, not guns. But Lyra knew how fragile peace could be. So she began to teach Kiru not just how to survive, but how to speak both tongues. How to listen without fear. How to lead with memory. How to protect without becoming the thing they once feared. She gave him Elias's journal, handwritten pages worn. And every night, they read it together. Stories of earth. Of kindness. Of hard choices. Or begins years later when Kiru stood tall and strong, with starlight in his eyes and ancient songs in his voice. He would walk to the top of the same cliff. He would look at the sky and speak across the stars. My name is Kiru Ilari Ward. I am son of the stars and soil, born of mother's love and a human's courage. We are not enemies. We are not stories to be erased. We are still here, and we remember.